Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Sheely, Senior Advocate of Politics, Beauty, and Barber. I am the president of the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals. Let's see where my advocates are this morning. I am in an RV. Y'all see, look, I'm on the road. I'm on the road. So I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Let's see. Let's see. Join us. Join us. Let's see who's going to chime in. It is 11 a.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. Yeah, let's see who's going to join us this morning. Let's see where my trusty co-host is, everybody. Let's see. Well, I'm going to give you an update of where we are on the campaign trail. And I say we, everybody, because my candidacy and this campaign to the United States Senate is so not about me. It is about the betterment of our industry. It is about the betterment of our nation. It is about all the work that needs to be done. Good morning, Benita, out in Durham. It is about all the work that needs to be done in the midst of this pandemic. And we gotta change the state of our nation. We have to change, what how this country is operating, the way we treat each other, the way policy is initiated. There's so many things that need to happen politically. And, for many years, we started our efforts, for those of you that don't know, and I tell the story all the time. In 2011, I was, at doing services, thought the industry, I saw the demise. I started going to board meetings, and I saw where our industry was, the problems we were having. And I can just tell you that it was sad. It was sad, and I couldn't just sit back and not address it. So I started going to board meetings. I started getting involved with other organizations, and then I saw where the problems were. And that's when we had to start our own efforts, because sometimes as organizations get too big, they don't address the needs of our industry. So my candidacy and my campaign to the United States Senate, our efforts with the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals, our efforts with Politics, Beauty, and Barber, y'all, all of this is way bigger than me. way bigger than me. And it's going to take a movement, and it's going to take people to be mad. It's going to take things like this pandemic to happen, where the industry was deemed non-essential. Like, I think if you look up the word not, absent of, void, essential, necessary, important, look up the word and put those two words, that prefix non onto essential, and you'll see that, for us to be deemed as, to me, it was like a slap in the face, more like irrelevant. Like, who we are, we're not relevant, we're not important, we're not necessary, we're good morning, Miss Sandra. Good morning. I see you with your picture of John Lewis. God bless his soul. He and TT Vivian went home to be with the Lord. God bless. Our condolences. Legends. I see we have an advocate in the lobby, Miss Trisha Bailey. If you can hear me, Trisha, your camera is not working. You're going to have to either try a different browser or log out and log back in. Your camera is not working on this end. But nevertheless, y'all, non-essential is how we are classified. And we have to really educate our legislators, because a lot of times these people are paid to say and do what is their advantage personally. That's just how some politicians operate, where they are not necessarily working for the people. Not all of them. There's a lot of great politicians out there that are doing it with the heart and the mind for the people. But there's a lot of people that are being paid to make decisions that benefit others. And if we want change in this industry, we can't pay them. We don't have our money right now in the midst of this pandemic. It's not that long. So we can't pay them. But when I tell you we can motivate them in the right way, we can. We can get them to hear us, because the one thing they fear is to not be reelected. So that's when you organize, mobilize, galvanize. You know, we get together and we show them that we are a force to be reckoned with. I see Miss Trisha Bailey has gotten in the back. Let's see. Let's bring her in. She is an advocate in Georgia. Good morning, Miss Trisha.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are
How are you
you?
doing? I'm doing great.
Good. Good. You're gonna give us an update from Georgia. How you been?
Oh, well, we're okay. I'm okay. Some of my colleagues who have salons in Georgia, some of them closed up. They closed up already, and I hate to hear that, but they have, or they downsized. They've either gotten what do you call it, the lofts? They've gone to lofts, but a lot of them have closed down. As far as where I'm working, we're still doing okay. You know, we're still doing the mask and the shields and checking temperatures as they come to the door and have them sit outside in their cars, that kind of thing. So they're doing, we're making do what we have to do.
Yeah, and that's what's so sad, Trisha, that a lot of professionals won't get past this pandemic. They won't.
I know, right?
Hearing
They won't.
that they're closing up is such a sad state for our industry.
Yep, it sure is. And I hate it too, because one of my colleagues, she's like, I'm just doing what I have to do for my family. You know, I have a young child, and I'm concerned about her, and I don't want her to take home anything to her. So she made a decision to close it down. So
Yeah, yeah, that's so disheartening. That this is where we are, and then these new professionals, Trisha, and you know this to be true. A lot of the new professionals, they aren't prepared for this. At least the seasoned, the veterans in this industry have been in the industry long enough to kind of understand health and safety practices to the extent that we now have to take it to the next level. But a lot of these new professionals, they're a little afraid of this, and
right,
they're not
right.
prepared.
Well, back in was 89, 90s, I went through the AIDS era too.
Hmm.
So during that time, we didn't have to take the type of measures that we have now, but we still had to be very cautious, of the blood being transferred, cutting our fingers. We still had to be cautious. So it kind of took me back to that, but now it's a little bit more than that era. So I've kind of been through that before. So like you said, the young people, they're not prepared. They're not prepared for the sanitation part of this business, and they don't want to abide by some of the cautionary measures to even try to protect ourselves and our clients.
Hmm. Hmm. These are some scary
So
times. Introduce yourself and tell everybody you've been in the industry, what, 30 years?
40. I've been in the industry for 40
40,
years. 40,
40
yes. Can you hear me?
years.
Yes.
I can
I
hear you.
started back in 80s.
Go ahead. Go ahead
I
and
didn't
tell
hear.
your story. Started
Okay.
at.
Okay. Yeah, I've been in the industry for about 40 years. I've been in Atlanta about 30 plus years. I started back in North Carolina, and I worked in a Caucasian salon. So I know the difference in, the different types of environments. So when I moved to Atlanta, this is when I first started working in a, ethnic salon. And it's been a journey for me because I've done a lot. I've had several business owns my own. I've been the owner of several salons. Let's see, I've been um, also been in competitions at the Bronner Brothers shows, Chicago, DC, Philadelphia, um, New Orleans. So I've been in the circuit in different venues, different types of venues in the industry. I also now working with Sean Bullitt, who is also the hair loss specialist. So now I've also become. Then we gotta kind of. Sometimes we gotta in this industry we gotta reinvent ourselves. So that's kind of where I'm at now. So I'm kind of going towards the hair loss specialist side of the business and helping women with their problems with hair loss. So sometimes we have to just reinvent ourselves and do other things in this industry.
Mhm. And I think that's where I'm hopeful that many professionals will transition into something new, and instead of leaving the industry,
Yeah.
doing what you did, transitioning and your business now to another level, your efforts to another level.
Mm-hmm. And then we gotta be creative in starting new things. Like I'm getting ready to start. I have a hair, actually a hair and makeup team, and I'm actually gonna be doing Zoom classes just to get them, more involved in the industry and answer any questions that they might have about getting to the industry. So I'm gonna start a Zoom class.
Yeah, good, good. And this is how we have to evolve.
Right? Can you hear me?
More we have some connection here. You guys can see. I think just hear me out.
A little bit. It's kind of going in and out,
Yeah, and
but
I'm coming and going. So I hope
hear
you
you.
guys are hanging in here with me. I'm actually in an RV park here in Georgia, making my way around to places, different times where people don't get an opportunity to hear from politicians, people that actually care or they're to Washington, because the local state legislatures. I am making my way um, around the state. Um, yeah, so I hope you're still with me. I'm having an awful time with this internet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
let's see who chimed in over in the comments. She said, let's see. Comments aren't showing. But we had someone to say, I looked at it as if we are luxury. Yes, they're, like I said, they're defining us as non-essential. We're like I said, look up the word non, that prefix, and then essential, and you'll see, what that actually means for us as beauty and barber professionals. That we are, yeah, it's not a good, this is not a good look for us as an industry, and we have to educate our legislators. Let me see if I can bring Trisha back so we will close her out. We may have a shorter broadcast today because we're having some awful internet. I don't know maybe there's a storm headed up the coast of South Carolina. Can you hear me, Trisha?
okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think we're
Can I
having this,
say something?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing for our industry. I met you about a year or so ago, and I heard what you were saying then, and I kind of like heeded to what you were saying. You keep saying you need to join, you need to join. You were right. So I really appreciate what you're doing for our industry, because a lot of people are not doing this. And I told some of the people in the salon this past week, I said, y'all, you know, um, I just joined the beauty and barber industry, so on your board, and I want to start to bring some changes to our industry. So I really appreciate what you're doing.
For so long, Trisha, for so long, what is she talking about? What is she talking about? And I think it had to just click. It just took a long time for it to click, but unfortunately, it took this pandemic for it to hit home for a lot of people. But I appreciate,
Right,
that
right.
we get it now. Yeah, we get it. Well, thank you. Like I said,
Yes,
this might be a short class today because this internet connection is not
right.
not good.
I see.
So yeah,
And I did
I
get my
thank you.
shirt.
Yay! You got to wear your
I got
shirt on
my
the
shirt.
broadcast.
So next time I'll be wearing my shirt, but I'm getting ready to go out right now. But I am going to wear my shirt next time. But appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good one. Thank you, Trisha.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, let's talk about, yeah, she said, let me see more comments up. She said we downsize also, but business is really good for the summer months. And this pandemic, however, I have to take off a week after a full week, which is 2 to 3 clients a day. So that's a great, what sounds like she's rotating in and out of the salon. So she'll take off a week after a full week just to kind of give herself and that's what a way, what two great ways to look at this. what a way to look at it, as if you are, as you're working now in this new environment, you have to take extra precautions. You're doing all the things that you normally would do, but you're going above and beyond with making sure that everything is clean, everything is wiped down after every client. Like, you're going above, you're taking temperatures, you're logging, hopefully you're logging all of this stuff down so you can have something documented, that you've taken these temperatures, and you're taking all these extra steps. And for her to say, I have to take off a week after a full week, it lets you know that that was a lot of stress. I can only imagine, doing this routinely until she gets in her routine, and taking all, and mentally for her, mentally giving herself a break, and physically saying, did I contract anything? Did I spread anything? How am I feeling? What a way to, to self-monitor and to self-check, to make sure that you're okay and your clients are okay. And what a way to balance it all. Because this pandemic, this new season that we're in, this is no joke. Even with me running for office and being around the state, I can just tell you that, I'm mindful and careful and tired. I'm in this little RV, but I'm in this little RV because I know that I didn't want to go from hotel to hotel. And I know how meticulous, because that's how we are in this industry, particularly now in this pandemic, how meticulous I am with cleaning and my space. And I don't really like keeping strange beds. I'm able to clean it. I want it, have and have a travel. So get away from me and be safe. I wear my mask everywhere I go. I do have a face shield I need to wear on. I have plenty of gloves. I actually have boxes of masks that I'm giving out. We've been giving out our pieces. So I'm out in the midst of this, but I'm being careful, and it is very exhausting. Kudos to you, Rhonda, for being mindful that you're going to take care of your clients, and you're first of all going to take care of yourself. So good for you, Rhonda. Very good. Miss Lisa says she is 30 plus years, Baltimore City. Guys, this is the beauty and barber industry is a beautiful industry. It's beautiful. It is everything that I remember when I first came into the industry. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with the profession. Like, I love the way beauty and barber professionals loved on their clients. Like, that to me was like, how do you go to work every day and you love what you do and your clients love you too? They love you, you love them, you're doing something fun and creative, the money is great. So, being in an industry where you could be all the, it could be a fabulous whole world for you, I fell in love with it. So yes, 30 plus years, Baltimore City. I came into the industry in 95. How many years is that now? 25 years. I'm 25 years in. 18 years I did so, for the last 7, I've been advocating and giving it my all, making sure we stay abreast, y'all, watching hundreds and hundreds of bills every year that affect our industry is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I can't do it. And I've done it in the very beginning alone. And then people have gradually come on, and our organization has been gradually building. And but it takes 8, like, just to tell you the logistics of what it takes for our organization and for us to monitor to the extent that we need to monitor. At minimum, it takes 8 in each state, 8 professionals, 2 cosmetologists, 2 estheticians, nail techs, and 2 barbers. If we had 8 professionals, that is 8 professionals every state. These letters can be off, because we will have the structure, we will have the the bodies, we will have the voices that will push legislators to do what we demand. This is our industry, and no longer can we allow people to buy us, buy legislators, and we not do anything about it, or influence legislators that don't, just don't know. We know what's best for our industry. As beauty and barber professionals, we stand behind the chair every, now, as often as you can, you're standing behind that chair, you're doing these services. We know what's best for us. So good job, great, Lisa, 30 years, Baltimore City. Sandra says, non-essential is not important. Yeah, not important, not necessary. We're just, I don't know. I can't even find any negative words to describe who we are, because that's not who we are. But yeah, non-essential is not important. And we are important because, a lot of people's mental capacity, their mental state is tied to their outer appearance, their appearance. And when somebody can't get their hair done, can't get their nails done, I'm gonna tell you, I struggle with my eyebrows. So I've been trying to keep them at least maintained myself, because she does a great job with keeping them. So it's like and my barber keeps my edges and keeps me from looking like I'm scraggly. So yeah, it is necessary for me, because it's like, if I don't look good, at least presentable, I don't feel good. So yeah, we are important. We are essential. And who is the government and who are legislators to say we're not? She says we must enforce the importance of the industry. Absolutely, we must. Absolutely, we must. We must continue to let them know that this industry is, guys, this is a very lucrative industry, and there's a lot of tax potential. A lot of us during this pandemic, a lot of you did not get unemployment, and you didn't get the loans and the grants. But there's a lot of reworking that we need to do as professionals. We know what we need to do. We need to make sure we're operating, and Racine will be on in just a bit if we can get through this broadcast with this internet. Racine will be on in just a bit to talk about, our business structure, because that is the problem with the way we do business. It's not the fact, it's the way we're doing business that needs to change. Because we do great business, it's just the way we're doing it with our finances. But Racine, that's her lane, and we'll let her dive deeper in. She also says she's balancing her strategy. That's great. Yes, yeah. And she says she's balancing hers as well. But yeah, everybody, it takes 8 professionals in every state. So I went to Grantville yesterday, and I met a barber. I was hopeful that he could join us this morning on the broadcast. But I met a barber who, and there's internet issues. Yeah, I think this storm is really wreaking havoc on our ability to communicate this morning. But I went to Grantville yesterday, Grantville, Georgia, the cutest little quaint little city. Cute, y'all. I'm telling you, it is a cute little city. It is cute. Kind of tucked away. It's off the expressway, off the I-75, which was good. Off 85. Off Interstate 85 here in Georgia. Cute little town, up and coming. You have a lot of corporations, like Amazon has put a distribution center or a warehouse or something. There's a few other major corporations that are maybe less than 10 miles away in one or so direction. But there's opportunity, so much opportunity in these little rural areas where people are just, living their best life. It's quiet, the air is clean. They got well water. They're living their best life the way they want to live it. So I'm out here in Grantville. I met a barber who told me a story about being fifth generation barbering. And he said how, I was hopeful that he could come on this morning, but he talked about how his fifth great grandfather, and I'm sure this story obviously was passed down, but he talked about how his fifth great grandfather was a slave, of course, during that time, and he was sent to other plantations to cut it. And that's how his family barbers barbering all these years. So I'm sure he has like this amazing story about being in the industry for as long as his family's been in the industry. So you know, I'm first generation, and actually my story is my aunt went to nail school, and I laughed at her. Stupid me, right? My aunt went to nail school. This is the craziest story. So my aunt went to nail school, and I laughed at her. I'm like, nails? You know, you don't make a living doing this. And I just thought it was funny. I was probably like 19. When you think you know it all and you know it. And she was cool, and she actually ended up transitioning into cosmetology. She didn't on to cosmetology. My sister went to nail school, and I laughed at her. Like 20 years old, 21, still thinking, I laughed at her. And then she transitioned and went on. So I figured, I was working at the bank at the time, right? And while I was working at the bank, I got robbed twice. Now I'm thinking corporate is my thing, right? So I'm working at the bank. The second time, and but my sister like, you just I did well. Go to nail school, guys. Fall in love with nails. Fall in love with doing nails. Realized that I was really, really good at it. Really good at polishing. I could not do gels, wraps, acrylics, anything fancy, all the enhancements. Couldn't do that mess at all. I was like horrible. And I call it mess because I couldn't do it. It was kind of hating, right? So but I could polish my butt off, and I could polish well because as a little girl, I colored a lot. I love coloring. So I understood depth and dimension, and I knew how to stay inside the lines. I knew, you know, I really colored extremely well. So when I polished, my polishing skills, it just transitioned into polish. So that's what I for this. I'm like, okay, this is my thing, but I can't do nothing extra. So I managed. I said, okay, I'm going to master manicures and pedicures. So that's what I did for all those years. I mastered manicures and pedicures. I got better and better and better. For 18 years, I did manis and pedicures. Really, all I could do effectively. Wasn't good at nothing else. So yeah, that was my thing. So you find it and you find your way, and this is a beautiful industry. And I just hate to hear stories where people are shutting down shop. I just know that we have to transition. And, you know, some people are probably tired. You know, you've done it 20, 30, 40 years. You're tired and you want something new. See, we have another comment here. Let's see. Internet still in my butt, but she says, what is have everyone have. Okay, let me come back to your comment. Internet, in my butt. In my butt. Doctors have everyone has a profession. You work on them and go, and to go 3 months without services is not pretty. Oh yeah, you're right. All these professionals, and to not have us take care of them, you're right, Ms. Rhonda. You're right. You're right. And she says, the internet is not my friend today. It's really not. But hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm waiting on Miss Racine calling me. The R&B part is the crowd part. I love this experience. This is a baby that is contributing. In addition, we have a says, let me see if I can show this. But yeah, so yeah, I found my way in the industry, and my son, just to continue my story, I tried to get my son, he went to barbering school because I always, as a black male, is imperative that you know how to do something with your hands at all times. You know how to do something, some trade, some skill. I have 2 sons. One is extremely technical. My younger son is a computer guy, and my she says, still remember your polishing amazing. Yeah, I could polish. I couldn't do nothing. Manicures and pedicures. Don't ask me to do nothing else. But yeah, so I was saying my younger son is technical. So he's great with computers, so he'll always be able to find something technical to do. And my older son is he went to art school, so it is. I just see this as an industry where people, as long as people are going to grow hair and fingernails and skin, there's money to be made. There's always, like I told my son one day, if all else fails, I could go back to doing nails. And that even rhymes. So if all else fails, I have something that I love and that I could go back to and, you know, really continue where I pick up where I left off, but with manicures and pedicures. So yeah, this is an industry of, you know, I feel like you guys are heroes, and this is where, you know, save people, save people, you know, from, you know, making people good, help them feel good. So, you know, this pandemic, you know, put a down on all of us, our spirit, our moods, our livelihoods. And that's why we've started that GoFundMe. We still have that GoFundMe. We still have it. Let me see if I can actually put it up. We still have our GoFundMe. Have it on. I'll make it put it up on the next broadcast. We definitely still have GoFundMe. We still have we have PPE packets. We left 8 in Grantville. I left 8 in Grantville just yesterday. There's people that need help. People walking around with extra masks. Take this, put this on. It's encouraging people to let's all stay safe. And honestly, guys, I just feel like this mask, and if you want to wear gloves and move around, that is a small ask for us to continue to operate our business. Checking temperatures at the door, doing all the things that people say is such a small ask. It's such a small ask in the biggest down in the red or band. I was invited to DC for March. There's a march. Al Sharpton has a march in. I wasn't invited by Al Sharpton, but I was invited by a group of people that are participating in this march. And my state of Georgia is banned from Washington, D.C. There's a list, for those of you that don't know, that if you travel into Washington, D.C., you have to quarantine 2 weeks before. And I can't sit down just to be there for 2 weeks. That can't happen. So, you know, we're in a strange time. We're in a strange place. I know Texas. I hear about Florida. Their capacities for their ICUs. I know we're in a strange time, but Beauty and Barber Professionals, I just want to applaud you for those of you that are sticking and staying, fighting through this. Because guess what? We will have a story to tell. We absolutely will have a story to tell at the end of this. How we made it, by the grace of God, how I made it. But we will have a story to tell at the end of this. Like, how did we survive the pandemic of 2020? And, you know, I knew we, as an industry, we could not sit still. We could not sit home. We had families to feed. I did not want us to be shut down. I wanted us, because I know we are trained in health and safety and sanitation and infection control. I wanted us to just fight it out, fight through this. This was our opportune time to show the world, show our legislators who we are, what we can do, you know, the education that we have, and how that, you know, how it contributes to, you know, us keeping people safe. Like, we know how to do this. This was totally our opportune time to prove it. And, you know, I understand that, you know, why some people have chosen not to. I get it, and I totally respect it. But for those of you that are sticking and staying, I just want to thank you. I want to say thank you, you know, for we're the foundation of this industry. And what my biggest fear is that if those of us that are true to this industry, if we crumble and go underground, you know what's going to happen? Corporations, which they're already doing this, corporations are saying, we need workers. So let's turn this into an industry of workers. Let's deregulate this industry. It's already happening. They're going to take full advantage of this pandemic and say, well, these people, we need workers. So we'll train them in our salons. These corporations, we'll train them in our salons. We'll let them get the basic or the minimum that they can get from these online classes now, because most of our schools are some sort of hybrid between online and in person. I guess they're alternating and rotating their students. So that's what these corporations are saying. Well, you get the basics and the minimum, and then you come in and we'll train you on the rest, and we'll teach you our structure. And that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. And that's the vision. And that's where they're going to take and try to siphon, what they can from us, and build their businesses, build their corporations, hire their staff. And then you got an industry full of workers. When we're free people. Beauty and barber professionals are free spirited, free thinking, free people. So we can't be, we can, and most, some of us, if you think back in your beginning, you may have gone to a corporate salon, you may have worked in a structure where they told you, gave you all these rules, but you don't actually function well in that kind of environment. You don't really like to be told what to do and how to do it. You're too creative. So I already know that we'll fight this. I'm sure we will fight this. But I just want us to be mindful that what is happening and how they're going to attack us. Florida, for example, we're addressing the issue that Florida now has turned back the hours under this whole COVID. They've turned back hours, and the cosmetologists, I believe, is 1,000. The barbering hours have gone backwards. They're rolling back our hours. You need less and less training in this industry. You need to be less and less educated. We don't need you to be you don't need to be smart. You just need to work. That's in our industry. So we have our in-house financial guru. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. That was quick. How is everybody today?
Yeah.
Excuse my
Good.
voice.
Where's your voice?
I'm not sure, but bear with me, you all. I had half a cup of coffee this morning, so but it was a late night.
So you're running on half the steam, and I'm missing my earbuds. Can you hear me okay?
I had the internet maybe just a little fuzzy, but I can hear you good. I can hear you good. I can hear you good.
Yeah, well, Danielle isn't with us this morning. I think she's along that East Coast where that storm is headed. So we're having an awful time with the internet today.
I got you. Well, I'll fill in where you guys leave off. No problem. Hey, everybody. A couple of weeks ago, someone was asking about debt. So I wanted to give a few tips on debt and, accelerating it and getting out of it as fast as we can so we can start saving more money. Notice I said more, not start saving, period. Okay. So I got a few notes. And we talk about if you had a mortgage. I'm talking to people who have a mortgage. I'm talking to people who have credit cards, car loans, etc. The first thing I want to share is that there are basically two ways that interest is computed. The first one is what we call simple interest, and the second is compound interest. So I'm going to break it down. In that simple interest, the interest is calculated daily. So a car loan is a great example of a simple interest loan. A compound interest mortgage or loan is typically what you see in mortgages. And the interest is calculated for a set period of time, every 30 days, in this case, every 30 for 30 years or 15 years, etc. So an example of a simple interest is typically your car loans. And an example of a compound interest mortgage is typically your mortgages. Now, what I've come to, find out is that there are simple interest mortgages. Not a lot of lenders do them. It is actually the most ideal way to have a loan because you can accelerate it. And a visual way of how to, kind of put that together is think about when you buy a car, and let's say it's a $35,000 car. I'm not sure how much a Lamborghini costs, but we'll work through it. But just imagine a $35,000 car. How many years do they typically finance it for? At the most 5 to 7, right? Well, think about if we had that same mortgage, 35,000, they typically want to spread it out over 30 years and pay it every 30 days, right? So one of the things that I'm able to share is that, hey, on a simple interest mortgage, we'll start with a car. You can accelerate it faster because you can literally pay it off faster. And the way that I'm suggesting individuals to do and is to actually pay it instead of one time a year or one time a month rather, pay it bi-weekly. So if your car note is $200 and you pay the first payment on the first of every month, well, pay the first payment at the first of the month, but 14 days later, pay half. And then another 14 days later, pay the other half. And every time you make a payment on a simple interest note, they recalculate your interest. That's huge. That's huge. So that means you normally have one time that the mortgage or lender is actually calculating your note, you're going to have it calculated twice. So every time they recalculate it, your interest goes down. So if you had a 7 year or 5 year car note, you'll pay it off in half the time. And notice I hadn't said about adding any extra money. So if you did add extra money, say extra $25, it would make it even more opportunity for you to pay it off faster. On a compound interest mortgage, typically, if you did that same thing, paying it every 14 days, unfortunately, on a compound interest mortgage, they just tack it onto the back of the mortgage or they add it as extra principal instead of, changing or calculating it every 14 or every time you make a payment. Because their rule is that you literally, they can't calculate it every time they receive a payment from you because your payment on a compound interest mortgage is pre-scheduled. That's the real word here. Compound mortgages are pre-scheduled for 30 days, for 30 years, or 15 years, or whatever that term is. So any extra payments are literally typically put on the back end, and you can add extra toward the principal. So when I sit down with clients, I actually ask them to go look at their mortgage paperwork first, starting, and ask them, okay, um, either that or I call their lender, ask them what type of mortgage and how the interest is calculated. And if it is a simple interest calculation, you're in a good part because you can pay your mortgage off a lot faster. On a compound interest mortgage, they'll tell you. And so I show families if there is a compound interest mortgage, I literally tell them to take their monthly payment divided by 12, and those payments, whatever that number is, you can literally just tell them to add that to your principal as a principal prepayment only payment. That way it will help accelerate that compound interest mortgage, and maybe knock off about 2 or 3 years, off of 30 will definitely help. And so if you pay biweekly, typically that won't make a difference. That payment will just come on the back end of the mortgage and it won't really make a difference. It'll maybe cut off a few payments as well. The other thing about accelerating debt, we talked about step down, where you can pay one bill off at a time, and that payment can then be applied to the next bill or the next debt. That bill is paid, and then take it to the third, and keep going until you're totally debt free. And suggestion after you've paid off of those debts, take that interest, I mean, the payment that you were making on all those bills, and then set up, accelerating and putting more towards your savings, your emergency fund, your wealth building fund, which is retirement, kids education, and then also I call it a saving strategy fund. That's for if you're saving for a house, saving for another car, a project, a wedding, that kind of thing. So we should always have 3 accounts simultaneously. Um, and so some people, when I'm looking and going through their budget, I'm, good at squeezing blood out of a turnip, as they say in the South. But one of the things I'm able to do is, try and do that for them and move the money and to be able to accelerate that. But I'm also suggesting to them, excuse me, that hey, sometimes you may have to have your part-time, side hustle, your plan B, you know, get an extra bit. Sometimes you're creative, you have a hobby that generates a little income. I'm suggesting that we do that too, because I did that, while I was working at Emory as an accountant. I got me, a side hustle, side business that helped me begin to save more and put more into my, debt to accelerate it. So with that said, I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to really save. If you have questions, definitely let me know. I want to make sure I'll give you guys some feedback and find out where you're wanting some strengths at for yourselves. So I see someone who was asking about an Excel document. I can definitely have one that can literally give you. And so if you'll email me at info at racine, RACINE, Reichert.com, I can make sure that I get that email. And I do have an Excel spreadsheet. I also have just a regular Microsoft Word spreadsheet as well. So that'll help you out. For you guys, always, I told you I'll do a financial game plan that really is customized, and it really will be confidential, of course. And it really gives you a great game plan in all of your areas, not just your budgeting, your debt, etc. But budgeting is the first start, Sandra. So I agree. That's a great move to start there to see where your money is going. Because I know sometimes as self-employed or business owners, we're taking our business income and we're using it for our personal, and we're really trying to make sense, on how to make sure everything is moving. So, I always make sure you guys also have your business account separated from your personal account. Pay yourself a salary so that you can really keep things separated. That's going to be especially for those who've gotten the SBA loan. They're going to be real specific and strict on making sure you're accounting for the monies that you're spending. So I'm preparing you guys. You don't have to make a payment until after 12 months. There's a delay 12 months before you have to make your first payment. But I suggest you now keep up with everything you're doing now, receipts, documentation, because you have to be accountable for the money that you have taken from SBA. And so one of the other things is, making sure you guys are preparing as a succession. Really, I'm big on that for self-employed people. And I'm saying this because I've had this week 2 clients who've passed away, and I've had a strong conversation with the spouse, who was very active in the business, trucking, and unfortunately, they didn't have a wheel left. And I'm kicking myself thinking about it because I should have had that conversation or insisted. So now the wife is literally trying to make sure that the husband's business transfers. And unfortunately, she's got to go through the courts to transition his business, transition to personal, things that shouldn't have to, she should be, just relaxing, and I ain't gonna say grieving, but going through the grief process and not having to make these decisions right now. So, as you're going through your financial game plan, just make sure you're putting some things in place, and I'll definitely help you guys do that. I think Rhonda has a question. Should I refinance my car loan? It's very high interest and my credit is better. Um, if you do, and it gets your payment down significantly and saves you money, yes. And I suggest you do the biweekly payments that I suggested, because I did that as well. I saved about 250 on my car when I refinanced it. And I don't like refinance because it extends the loan out or your time out in that car, because the value of the car doesn't last that long. As soon as you take it off the lot, it depreciates. But if you do get a refinance and it gets your payment lower, take that extra money from your payment and accelerate it. As I said, you'll see a big difference. I've had my car now 2 years, and I'm almost paid. I have it paid off by December, versus what was a 5-year loan, 4-year loan. I'm sorry. So definitely that'll make a difference. That'll make a difference. Just pay it bi-weekly, as I said. Let's see if we got any other questions.
That's it. No more questions.
No, good. Okay.
That's a great strategy for making those payments and paying your, because I hate interest. Like I'm looking at my home loan, and the interest rates right now are very, very low. But I have a really good interest rate now, so I'm like, and I think we're gonna consider refinancing, because the interest rates are just so low, and it may be worth it. And then doing what you said about making additional payments if we can.
Exactly. And on the mortgages, sometimes if we are refinancing on mortgages, maybe consider doing a 15-year, instead of another 30-year, and it might be the same payment, but at least you have less time, and then still have that extra salary or extra part-time, gigs that'll help pay off that debt the same way.
Yeah. So with mortgage loans, are you able, because this will be the first time I do all the great things you've said. So with mortgage loans, are you able to make partial payments?
No partial. Typically no partial payments, but one of the things, as I suggested, was call your bank and ask them specifically, how is my interest being calculated? That's really the best way to ask that. If it says simple interest, then you can make, split that payment in half and have them put you on a bi-weekly pay schedule. Because the key is making the payment equal number of days between each other. It can't be 14 days and then 15 days your next payment on. It has to be even days, okay? Because they recalculate each time.
My ask is, like, if you want to do, because making 2 full payments on a mortgage, I probably would. But what if I made a payment at half? That's what I'm saying. Like if I made a payment and then a half a payment, is there a way to even do that?
You can do that, but what they'll end up doing is literally taking that extra, or that what they consider the half payment, and look at it as more of extra and put it toward the principal. They may not necessarily take it that way, especially on mortgages. They're real specific. Yeah, they're very specific.
I would have to make an additional payment. So if I make an additional payment, maybe every other month, make an payment versus trying to pay payment a month.
Yeah. And to be consistent too, just as I said, divide your mortgage payment into 12 and take that amount and put that as extra principal prepayment, and make that notation on your check, or note that in your payment, because they'll apply that towards your principal specifically. The key is consistency. Key is consistency. So I'm telling you guys what I actually do, not just reading a book and telling you what I read in a book. I'm telling you things that I've actually done, because I started as a financial coach and advisor because I was in the position that I was in debt after I got out of school. Working for a large university, and they have money to show for it. I really wasn't saving because I was young at the time. I say young, just say I started working and they forced me to wait a year before I put money in a 401k plan. So if I knew what I knew then, now I would be so far ahead, so much far ahead. So good deal.
I just want to give you a big old virtual hug, because I know.
Well, good. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody, and definitely I love your questions. Sandra, anybody just hit me up for that.
And we sincerely appreciate it. I'm not sure if you can hear me. My internet is gone and yours is. So I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. But I'm sure she will get this. She'll probably go back and watch.
Okay, good. Okay.
Miss Sandra, you asked question. So let's get that with her on that.
Let's see.
Guys, thank y'all for those of you that were able to do the internet broadcast today. It was definitely well worth it. Racine is always packed with knowledge, and we're just here. Racine, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I was looking at Sandra's comments, and I'll try to answer them or type it in.
Yeah, I was telling you, I'm going to go ahead and answer if you can in the next minute.
Okay.
Our internet failed.
Gotcha. Sandra, on SBA, right now, you can do the EIDL. There's the advance, which is the free money, and then there's the long part of EIDL. So that you can go on and apply. The paycheck or PPP, that's the Paycheck Protection Program. That one is not, we can do an application directly on SBA. You have to go through an actual lender. I think Wells Fargo, Bank of America are taking applications. That one you have to go specifically to the lenders to do that one. But the EIDL, you can go ahead and apply online on sba.gov and go ahead and do it now. And lastly, before we get off, make sure everybody goes to every state is different, but the state unemployment, the federal part of that is the PUE for independent contractors like yourselves. Y'all go ahead and apply for that if I didn't mention that before, because the federal part you guys can get, okay? Even though they're trying to cut it down, but still apply, please.
Next week when you come back, you explain what that is.
Okay, the unemployment benefits for the state. The state has unemployment benefits. You apply for the unemployment benefits through the state. And as self-employed people, we don't typically can get that. So then they go deny you, and then they'll have you really apply under the second part, which is PUE. That is for self-employed people and independent contractors. And there's a separate application within your state plan that you'll go, and there's a link, and you'll go and apply and put your specific information in there. And then that's the part you'll get approved for, and that's federally funded. So, and it's based on, I forget the calculations. I'm sorry, I apologize, but they will pay you retroactive from February when the onslaught of the COVID started. So when you put your date that you were affected, put February, and then they'll pay you all the way up until the end of December. So hopefully you're good. So I think that's it. I know the internet connection is off, you guys, but hope that helps. Thanks, Sandra. Hope that helps you guys, and look forward to working with you. I know Tamara is in and out, so she's there and I'm here. And say hey to Danielle for me, and we'll see y'all, I guess, next Tuesday. If any other questions, let me know. Cool. Excellent. Well, I'm gonna leave you guys, and I guess Tamara hit back on, but otherwise you guys have a great week, and be safe, and hope all works well.
All right, everybody. See you at 11 Eastern for our Barber broadcast update. Have a good week, everybody.